tell you what.
All right.
Did we ever find out what episode?
Yeah, it's 141. So
Okay.
welcome everyone to episode 141 of the Retic Lounge. I know it's been a while, and it's kind of been nice to take a slower pace on this. We're not going anywhere, but we're just taking a step back on the pressure of needing to release every single week and really hitting this thing hard.
Yeah. Yeah, and today's episode is definitely going to be a light one. I think we're just going to be catching up and seeing what's going on in each of our lives, what we got planned for retics and all that. I know there's a lot of big changes that I'm going through right now, and that I've kind of posted and stuff. And so we're just going to kind of talk all about that. But
I think there's big changes for both of us, honestly. So it'd be kind of nice to do a catch-up episode, because I feel like for the longest time there, I was just sitting stagnant. Not stagnant, but like kind of had found my place, kind of had the animals I wanted. So yeah, it'll be cool to let everyone in on how I'm restructuring as well as you.
Yeah, and I'm definitely curious and got some questions for you about it all.
Okay.
Yeah, before we jump into that, let's go ahead and just kind of throw in our sponsor here with Cold-Blooded Cafe. Again, we need to change this. I completely forgot about it, but use code Reptile Lounge 20 for free shipping. Cold-Blooded Cafe, again, is the number one source for your rodents. They also have chicks and other feeders available. Does a great job with running that company, and they are offering free shipping on their sponsorships now. So use that to get your free shipping. I know for me, it saves me about most of the time when I order about $90, because generally when I order, it's 3 boxes.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like 3 boxes at least.
Yeah. So it saves me a pretty penny. I just put in an order with Des, and that's, the fun thing about keeping large constrictors and having a bunch of animals. I just had a $700 food bill. Hopefully that'll last a couple months. So
yeah, I just found a new rabbit provider. So interested, I'm going to put in an order with him tomorrow, and then probably also with Des. So interested to see, it's not going to be $700, but I don't expect it to be cheap either.
Yeah. Mine was with Cold-Blooded Cafe. I also had to get some pigs. So, my rabbit source here locally has not been great. They've been slow to get back to me. Summers are also bad months for breeding rabbits because they all overheat and die. So, it's
great for babies if you can get those for the small animals. But
yeah, no, the only good thing that my source provides, consistently, is she can throw me like 7 to 9 pound rabbits all day every day. So that's good. I got food for the Slayer, so that's the only snake in my collection that's eating that big of a meal.
Yeah, summer's a hard spot with the rabbits for me too, because my sweet spot's anywhere from like 1 to 3 pounds.
Yeah. Yep.
That's where my animals thrive for sure.
Yeah. For the most part, that's what everything else eats. Every once in a while, I'll throw a 4-pounder to like a ternate or something if I'm trying to cycle her or something like that.
Yeah. Before we get too far into it, I know Lucas and I haven't been super active in putting out episodes, but our Patreon is very much still active. Got a good group of people over there that are still hanging on, still loving the community over there. So if you want to become a member of the Patreon, visit us at patreon.com/theretic-lounge and get in on the conversation.
Yeah, between the start of June to today, I think we've had 6 new members. So, we still got people joining, even though we're not putting out content as much. And I think in people staying there just really, to me, shows how much they love the community. I remember when, I was talking about like moving out the business side of things. We'll jump into that a little bit later. But I remember like a lot of people on the Discord were like, hey, if you guys don't do this, like we really want this to stay going. So I think honestly, Nathan, what I'm inclined to do is, and we could talk more about this, offline, but I think I'm just kind of more inclined to just like make it a $5 membership and a $15 membership. The extra $15 can go towards, just further supporting us. But like, I don't think we need so many different tiers. Like I think people are just using it for the Discord, and I think 5 is plenty.
Yeah, I agree. That's totally fine. And it's good to have another option for people that just, have stuck around with us or just want to show extra support. But we way overthought that when we first got into the Patreon thing, and then just kind of never looked back.
We were also really excited to be like, we're going to offer this and this and this, and then me and Nathan are like, with what fucking time? Like we don't have time to do a whole bunch of shit. So
yeah, there's other little aspects too, but
yeah.
Well, yeah, like you said, we can go over the logistics after.
We'll restructure.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what are you doing this year with your retics? What are you doing as far as restructuring goes? What's the status of like your animals? I haven't heard about them in a while. Whether you've poured your heart and soul into your reptile business or you've just begun your business journey, AE Foundry has you covered with next level expertise in graphic design, motion graphics, videography, photography, and so much more. If you've been dying for a new logo for your reptile business, motion graphics for your current logo, a new website, or need assistance making your video podcast come to life, then listen carefully. AE Foundry's mission places storytelling at its core. AE Foundry believes that a distinctive story and background are the driving forces that set your brand apart. In today's market, consumers seek more than just products. They crave a connection built on trust with the brands they cherish. AE Foundry is committed to empowering small businesses and fostering authenticity that resonates with their consumers. Reach out to them and let them help you craft a visual narrative that helps establish a genuine and lasting connection with your audience. To contact AE Foundry, email them at aromero@aefoundry.com or on Instagram @AEFoundry. When it comes to housing your retics, trust me, you're going to want an enclosure that will be just as strong and durable as your reticulated python. The Heartland Reptile enclosure is next level tough and will outlive you and your retic by several generations. Heartland Reptile enclosures are designed and manufactured out of powder-coated aluminum to provide the highest quality and longevity available in the reptile enclosure. What makes them even better is they are lighter than your PVC and plastic enclosures out there and are extremely tough. Stop playing around with plastic enclosures for your large constrictors and step up your enclosure game with the Heartland Reptile enclosure. To inquire about one of these enclosures, speak to Jordan himself at Heartland Reptiles on Instagram, Facebook, and on TikTok. Here on TRL, we preach about the importance of using hooks, feeding tongs, and other tools with your reticulated python all the time. Animal Equipment by Stoney not only has all the tools you need for any snake you keep, but they have the absolute best hooks on the market. What sets Animal Equipment by Stoney's hooks apart from the other guys is their polycarbonate hook ends that provide a warm feel that won't disturb or bother your retic, ensuring a positive interaction from the get-go. Since 2008, AE Stoney has been supplying zoos, herpetologists, and other animal professionals with their tools. It's time for you to step your hook game up and buy an AE Stoney hook. To learn more and purchase one of their amazing products, visit aestoney.com.
Yeah, I think a lot of that, and this isn't to like pat myself on the back or anything, but just to kind of let people know where I'm at, is I've been, last 5 months, I've been leaning into sobriety. Like I said, not a pride statement at all. I think it's been super helpful for me to lean into community and not focus on myself and all the things that I try to have going for me. So it's been really helpful to take a step back from, the weekly recordings and just set aside time to, put in some work. But I think it's helpful, or I hope it's helpful in some sense, if anyone else out there is like curious about that kind of thing. Like I said, only 5 months, but if you ever have any questions about that, or like, ever need someone to talk to, I'm here for that. But in terms of what that's doing in terms of the animals, is made me like really take a step back. And I've always kept things small, but it's made me kind of look at how far do I want to take this thing? How much time do I want to dedicate to this? And what are my motives in this? We talked a little bit about like the Retic Nation and being a part of the online community, and I've been pretty vocal from the start. I've never really loved being a part of the Facebook communities. I have a hard enough time even just being active on our Discord. I love our Zoom meetings. I love connecting with people, but in terms of like typing away all day and going through chats and forums and what's going on from second to second, I've just never been good at that. I'm still going to breed. I have some plans this year. I want to finally cycle my anery. She's really showing signs of, probably wanting to cycle.
Biting herself.
Yeah. I was showing someone the snakes who had never really been around large constrictors, and pulled out my purple because she's old trusty. I don't really have to worry about her even when she's starting to cycle. Like, she's easy enough to pull out of that feeding mode, and I can trust her quite a bit. And the anery is kind of the opposite. No matter what time of year, like she's good as long as she's climbing on something. Generally, like you go in there, she gets twitchy for a second, you pull her out, you let her climb on something, she's good.
Yeah.
Not this week. I tried to pull her out after getting in a little bit of a tangle, quite literally, with this rack and the purple albino. Mm-hmm. Wasn't watching her head for 1 second as we were messing around with her, and she found an anchor point and just went away climbing. Man. Pulled her out of there, put her back, tried to pull the anery out, did everything, textbook to how I handle the anery, and she just her eyes stayed dilated. Her tongue flicks were not there. All the things that we've talked about on this podcast, that like, hey, these are the signs, like if you need to be on guard.
If your snake is frozen, if your retic's eyes are all black, full of pupil, and they are not tongue flicking,
yeah,
don't walk in front of it.
Well, and I was just like, oh, this is just like a temporary thing. I'll keep on her with the hook for a second, get her moving, then grab her and I'll pull her out. So got to that point, she was moving across her enclosure, and I get a hand on her. I start pulling out her body, and she's maybe like halfway to a third out of the enclosure, and she just turns around and bites herself. Like, took any shot she could have. And so of course, respected her boundaries and tried to start putting her back.
What was this person who was in the room doing? Like, what was her reaction?
So luckily, I think she missed the initial, like...
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I think she missed the initial, like, her biting herself. But I did say something about it, and I was like, yeah, this is probably just not a good idea. Like, as much as I want to show, like, the size difference between the purple and the anery, like,
yeah, it's just not worth the scare.
It's not worth any blood either. Not a good first impression of someone who's already like a little hesitant about snakes.
And as a reminder, Nathan and I hate being bitten. Like we're not like the true bro retic keepers that like take bites and they're like, yeah, look, like, nope, that's not me. I don't have any care in the world to be bit.
Yeah, same. Like, it's just, that's not the experience for me. I saw it. speaking of not being plugged into any of the Facebook stuff, I ironically saw something today on Facebook that kind of reminded me of that situation. It was someone pulling out a Slayer Phantom. I wish I could remember who it was. Anyways,
It's a Chris McVicker animal right there.
I believe so, but I think he named this snake like Gripper or something like that. And apparently she's always a handful, and he was just like trying to get her out of the tub and into her enclosure, and she immediately wraps her body, and it just like it was a fight. She like distracting by little neck taps to like get her to not bite the arm that she's going up to, and like it just looked stressful. It was you know those videos of people like standing on the edge or like climbing big objects.
Man, dude, and the thing is, like, I don't even have a fear of heights or anything. Well, I wouldn't say anything. I don't have a fear of heights, but watching those videos makes my stomach turn.
Yeah, parkour on the edge. It kind of gave me a slight bit of that same stress. I was like, right. I've been in these situations before, and I know I don't want to be in that one.
Yeah.
No blood was drawn on that video, luckily. So kudos to whoever that was. But yeah, she's just been super on edge. And even when I popped in here tonight, she used to be like she used to pop at the glass here and there, but really it's been probably a couple years since I've seen her pop at the glass. It's usually like the 2-year-olds behind me that are amped up trying to see if there's food coming in the room.
Yep.
But I heard the loudest pop at the glass I've heard in a long time.
Those still make me jump.
I don't know if I totally jumped. It caught me off guard for sure. My heart rate definitely went up. But after that, I was like, oh, like she might actually like cycle well for me this year. Like that's a good thing. Okay, cool. Like I've never really like put a ton of effort into cycling her. I think she's either 7 or 8 years old now. I want to say 8. But yeah, I think this year she's fully ready.
Right.
So I'm gonna give her every opportunity and really listen to her desire for food right now.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's a good idea. I mean, what would you pair her to? You got some good animals lined up for her.
I have 2 males I could breed. I just sent off my 62.5% Phantom Tiger that I bred with 2 years ago. He was a great size for that anery. I would have no worries throwing him in with her. But that's not an option anymore. I have 2 males that are over 2 years old. One's way too small. I wouldn't even chance putting him in with her.
Oh, come on.
She's the same. He's the same size, if not a little bit smaller than Athena. It's the purple Phantom.
Oh yeah, no, okay, yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Lucas, for the backup there.
Definitely no, because I was thinking in my head, I was like, dude, I put some tiny snakes with some big females before, but yeah,
I've seen some pictures of some pretty remarkable stuff, but that's a special male to me. I want to make sure he's
doesn't get
fully ready for the venture. Yeah, want to keep him safe, and kind of the same thing with the other male. Like he's on the smaller side, especially when compared to the anery, but I think he could probably handle it as long as I manage the interactions. But it's the brother to the female I lost, which is the 50% Kalatoa 18.75 Jampea. He's a golden child, anery golden child sun tiger or platinum sun tiger. So it would be
powerhouse.
Yeah, head anery. I said he's anery. It's hard to tell if he's anery or just het, but he's at least one. He's a definite snowmaker. So
I mean, if he is anery and you take it to an anery female, that's going to be a full clutch of aneries. That's going to be pretty dope.
That'll be really cool. So yeah, at the very least, an all anery repeat of my first clutch, which would be awesome, raising the percentages there. So it would be a 62.5% clutch.
Cool.
And then if she proves out het purple, I got some snows for the first time, which would be pretty cool for me to see too.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be real nice.
Yeah. Snow combos of some of my favorite snakes I ever produced. And I just, after losing that female, I think like I'm ready for, another version of her, but maybe better this time.
You know what I was just realizing is this is the first year that you and me are going to be trying to pair animals that we've produced.
Really? Like they're both, well, the female's not, but the male definitely is.
Yeah, exactly. Your male that you produce, you're pairing to a female. I'm doing the same thing for the first time this year.
Yeah. And I think, well, nope, not anymore. I was going to say next year I could potentially do the full, like 2 animals that I produce, but that's 2 more years out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which definitely is still a big goal of mine. But now I'll be able to, take a male from that clutch and do something with 2 years down the road, do something with my purple phantom tiger.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think this year, like I had the potential for doing 3 clutches. I think right now it's probably sitting at 2. I'm still waiting to hear back from Spencer from Coiled. I've been trying to talk him into maybe trying to throw that purple phantom at his head OGS.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be really cool. Spencer, I don't know if you're listening, but like I said, I don't need any of the profits from that clutch. I just need a cow. So that sweetens the pot.
Yeah, just give me a baby.
Yeah. He's a killer. So but yeah, right now that's the only like solidly planned thing. I definitely think my Daniel Solis 87.5% Kalatoa tiger, Poss head albino, I think she could potentially go, and she's 6, and she's one I've always been hesitant to pair just because she's always stayed just so small. But now I feel like her body tone is really representing like an animal that I would be like confident in pairing. So I'm just going to be on the lookout for any signs of her wanting to amp up for just some extra food and play it by ear. I don't want to have a ton of babies to sell. That's kind of my thing right now.
Yeah, no, I feel that. And you know what? I will say, like my Solaire that I have, she didn't have her first clutch until she was 7. So, and she's 15 years old right now, and she's having perfect clutches. Like, and she's like in her prime because she wasn't bred at 3.5, 4 years old, and then bred at 5 years old, and bred at 7 years old. Like she's still like doing amazing. She's wanting to cycle right now. Like she's going through the motions. She's so difficult to get out. You were talking about your experience with your anery. When I was out of town in California last week, Sean and James were at my place and they were messaging me. They could not turn her food response off, and she jumped out of the enclosure. She leaned out, got all out. She went under the cages. It took them 30 minutes to get her back in her enclosure. So she's ready to go. And I think there is a lot of value in waiting. So, she's 6, and, even if you waited until she was 7, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. I think the only time I'll ever potentially breed a female at 4 now is just trying to reach that goal of 2 animals that I produce. So
right.
Potentially with that, purple phantom tiger, but that's probably going to be my last one. So
your last pairing?
No. My last pairing of like pushing them early, or not early, but as soon as they're ready. No, I think I think there's been some big changes over here. I guess I'll go into those because you have a lot to cover. I have just a little, so I'll selfishly take this time and finish up kind of what I'm doing over here.
Yeah.
So the count has gone dramatically down. I'm back down to 7 animals, and I have 1 left to sell. I have 2023 female tiger het purple pos het anery that is totally ready to go. She is a killer eater. She's beautiful. If anyone has any interest in her, please reach out. But I'm back down to that kind of like magic 6 that I really was like super comfortable in. And with all the caging that I have available and all the extra space, I think I'm going to be kind of just shifting things around to where I can start to sell some of the enclosures I'm not totally happy with the sizing on, and starting to pick up some jungle cages and slowly just work into better, more accommodating space for all the retics. They do fine in what they're in right now, but you know, I'd love to have like a 6-foot enclosure for the 2 really big girls. Yeah. I would love to open up a little bit of space in this room.
Right.
And then, yeah, I think kind of keeping it at that number while still having both the racks that I use for like hatchlings and then raising is going to allow me to maybe put an enclosure in here to be able to house some tree monitors, which, you know, I was only thinking only a few months ago was only possible once I made an upgrade in my enclosure. And, you know, that probably isn't coming soon enough. So yeah, I'm gonna try to work things out. So if you ever,
we make it work.
Yeah, if you ever see another background after I've upgraded my enclosures and you see me in my living room, you'll know that that's because I'm making way for a tree monitor enclosure.
Yeah,
finally.
I know
everyone who talks to me is like, so what do you do in the tree monitors? I'm like, I don't know. I want to, but it needs to feel right. It needs to align. I'm not just going to jump into it.
Yeah, and clearly, I mean, space, right? We need space.
Yeah.
Can't have them free roaming.
Space is key.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, I mean, besides, you know, getting my incubator up and running and, you know, just prepping for the season ahead, that's really what I've got going on. I'm just putting in work to do things better in this room, putting in work to, you know, have a clearer mind and do things better in my life, and, you know, be more open and available for other people. I think that's kind of what's going on over here.
Right. No, I like that. And, you know, on that same note, I mean, I got a lot going on over here. I mean, I made a post on my, Facebook page and shared it on my Instagram page, that I am going to be moving out like the business aspect of Live Exotics. So, and what that looks like right now is selling, you know, basically all of my, I wouldn't say all, but the vast majority of my reticulated pythons. Every other species I have right now, they're not at the point of breeding, and all the other species mostly are smaller species. So the feeding aspect of it is not as expensive.
I thought you were pairing some green trees right now. I thought I saw some pictures. Okay.
Yeah. And again, and I don't really view that as a total business venture right now. I mean, it's more of what I mean by moving out the business venture is, so I got some life changes. I mean, you guys obviously know and have listened. You know, I have a second daughter now. She's 4 months old. Last December, I got a promotion at work, and that keeps me pretty busy. And I'm going to be starting my PhD soon. And so with that being said, like, I'm starting to realize right now with Aspen, who's 4 years old, and also having a baby, Aspen is like really looking like she's at the age where she is wanting to connect and play and spend time. And then on top of that, just like the sacrifices that you make with having a larger collection and being in the garage all the time. And it takes away from family. It takes away from a lot. And I don't want my daughter to always be begging me for my undivided attention, because at the end of the day, breeding reptiles, if you want to sell them and you don't want to sit on your babies for more than a year plus, right? You have to be very active on social media. You have to promote, you have to engage, you have to answer questions, you have to make yourself available to strangers almost 24/7. And I've learned that
depends on the boundaries you set with the people, but yes.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was going to get to. I'm starting to learn about myself that I really struggle with setting those boundaries. I do make myself very available to just about anybody who reaches out to me. And so, yeah, I mean, just with me starting a doctoral program and having another kid, I think I'm at the place where like I'm happy that I like really pushed Lab Exotics and created a brand and produced animals that people have bought. And now they have and own happily and everything. And I just, I want to go back to just like quiet hobby keeper type of approach. And because I have a lot of animals that I need to move out, like I can't just like stop the online presence right away. So it's going to be this kind of phase system, right? All of my animals, all of my retics are available. But also at the same time, because I have a bunch of animals and I have overhead, any females that cycle right now in my garage is fair game. I'm going to, I'm trying to do a second generation lab line pairing right now. If my Solaire female cycles, I'm going to do another clutch of pure Solaires. If my ternate female cycles, I'm going to do a clutch of pure ternates. But with that being said, like anybody who's listening and like, oh damn, you're selling all your locality. Like, yes, I am. Like the Solaire, the Halma, the Kalatoa project, the ternates, my ocelot, like all of it's available. And like, we're coming up on breeding season and these females are wanting to cycle. So I'm trying to move them out before that, right? That would be ideal. But at the same time, like I want to continue the Kalatoa project if I have the opportunity to, and same with the Solaire. So yeah, really, I mean, it's good changes. Changes that I'm excited for. Like I'm really excited to be able to unplug and, eventually be able to kind of step back from, being on my phone all the time. And I did it for 6 years and I think it's time to start prioritizing some other things in my life.
No, I think that's a smart idea. I mean, I think given the same position, that's family's a blessing. Like being able to have a wife and a couple kids at home, that's pretty special. So being able, especially to recognize that like Aspen's craving that dad time and like trying to prioritize that. There's a lot of people that would try to just balance instead. And you've done quite a bit in igniting a spark in a lot of people to love locality retics. So I think it would be easy to kind of be selfish and continue in that, but to also recognize that, hey, like this is an important crossroads in my daughter's life, that like she wants that time that I would otherwise be spending in the garage. Like, yeah, you have your helpers, but ultimately you still have to be there and monitoring in some capacity. So like being able to, cut that back and, not totally get out of it, because you're still going to have your animals. I think with both of us, no matter the life changes, we still want our animals around. But, it's something that is going to be a passion that you can share with her instead of a chore that she sees dad have to go do.
Exactly. And that's that. Yeah, you couldn't have said it better with that last line. And so with retics, people have asked me, am I keeping any retics? I'm definitely keeping Athena. That's Aspen's pet that, we got from Nathan. And yeah, I mean, I plan on, so I have a holdback Solaire female, little girl. She's growing and I love her, so I'll probably keep her. Solaire has become my favorite locality after producing a clutch of them and then now taking it to the current clutch that I have available right now that I partnered with Eric Lee on. I love Solaire. So I think I'm going to keep that girl. And then I am going to keep a pair of the double het purple OGS Sun Tigers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see that project through. That'll just be a personal project that I really want to see through. But yeah, outside of that, I don't know if I'm keeping any more retics. Now, I mean, that's not stopping me from being a hobbyist and having these other animals that I have. Like, I just got a pair of Pitayas carinata. I've been talking about them for over a year. And
I didn't know if the day would ever come.
Yeah, I know. And finally, I think like 3 weeks ago, I got a pair. And dude, they are an insane, like amazing species. Like you talk about like the that just the awareness and intelligence that king cobras have. These snakes, like I come into the garage and they come up and they look at me, and if I look at them for too long, they like go back into their hide. They are just so fascinating. And I've never fed frog legs before until now, and it's so cool to see these snakes just freaking eat up frog legs.
Total sidetrack, but have you eaten frog legs yourself?
I have.
Okay, I need to try. There's a little Taiwanese place down the road for me that
it's like chicken.
Yeah, I'm sure it's great. But
the meat's white. It literally, like when you look at a frog leg, like I just got them frozen. And when you look at them, they literally look like the meat's the same looking as chicken. And it's funny, I get it from a Louisiana. I had to buy it online because I couldn't find it at a local Asian shop, but I got it from a Louisiana like big restaurant company, and so it's food grade frog legs.
Okay, eating good.
So I can literally just grab one. I could put it in the fryer and get them all crispy.
Hey, save them for a rainy day, right? Aspen, you want to try something new? We ran out of chicken.
But no, I mean, yeah. So I got the Pitayas carinata. I mean, I'm still keeping the carpets that I have. And
what about the monitors you were supposed to get in?
Yeah, so I put those on hold. Ryan still has them for me. And now that I'm going to be moving out a lot of the retics, I'm going to have way more time. So Ryan's got them. They're he's chilling with them. He's okay to have them. I called him a few weeks back and talked to him about it, and he's cool with it. So it's going to happen. But yeah, I want to probably reduce my collection in half before I could do that.
Those aren't sulfurs, are they?
No, they're the peacock.
Peacock. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Peacock / team. Well, they're not Timor monitors or peacock monitors, but related.
Yeah. I was kind of going back and forth on the two, not remembering which Ryan had for you.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, outside of that, I mean, just to kind of like right now I have, as far as like animals that aren't, locality projects and things that I'm selling, like just like productions that I have a 1.1 pair left of the Solaire Toas, right? The Solaire Calatoa crosses. That was a big clutch and it sold pretty quickly. It was 27 animals. And they're under a year old. I have 1.1 remaining. And then I have, let's see. I have 2 female Sun Tiger double het purple OGS, Solaire Sun Tigers double het purple OGS, and I have a bunch of Sunfires that are available. I got them sexed a few weeks ago, and so I'm going to start pushing them and taking more vids and getting those up for sale. And then, yeah, I mean, reach out to me if you guys want a ready to breed locality project or some younger locality projects. I have quite the group that I'm moving out. So,
how long until you start moving out cages?
I mean, that's the thing is like, if someone tells me that they want to like drive over and like pick up 6 of the locality animals and they want to drive over, they can take the cages with them.
Okay.
Yeah. So, if
So
anyone,
jungles are up for grabs.
yeah, I only plan to keep, like out of my big enclosures, I really only plan to keep 2 7-footers that I'm going to eventually put the Pitayas carinatas in.
Okay. What about the Heartland enclosure?
Oh, I'm keeping that one as well.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah. Yeah. That's got sentimental value to it.
Well, that and it's gonna last forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that enclosure's sticking around, and then I have my chondro still, and yeah, that's the biggest like just life update, right? And that's obviously a really big one. Yeah, and you know, I know I called you and we talked about this, but I had this Nido scare situation, that. Because of the lovely people in the Retic community love to blow shit out of proportion, you know, there was a lot that went into that I figured I could talk about, so I could finally just get some information out there and clear the air a bit.
Yeah, get into it, but I kind of want to. I want to let people know my opinion and what I said to you, because I still kind of chuckle about it from time to time.
Yeah. Okay. So, where do I start? Okay. So
Start with the sale.
yeah. So I sold a green tree python. And green tree python and all of my snakes, by the way, in my garage, no signs of bad health or anything. I got this green tree python from a very reputable breeder, and a good friend of mine. And so I sold it. The guy ended up getting it in his collection, and he tested it for Nidovirus. And the animal tested positive for Nido. And so right away that I was like, whoa, right? So before I go any further, I want to let you guys know the chondros are in the garage with the rest of my animals. And because I know that Nidovirus is prevalent in chondros way more than other species, my chondros have always gotten different feeding tongs, different cleaning supplies. They do not intermingle right with the retics and the other species. That worked out in my favor, and you guys will hear why here in a bit. But so it tested positive for Nido. The person who bought it, me and that person we've worked out a deal, and you know, we're good on that front. So immediately what I started doing after is I called my vet, and I had my vet come over. I had 15 snakes that I was sending out.
Let's remind people who your vet is, because
yeah,
we can all find a vet who can do a panel on Nido, but
yeah. So Dr. Koch, Dr. Rob Koch, he's one of only 24 to 25 like certified exotic vets in the world. You know, he was the vet for a very long time at the San Antonio Zoo. He's one of the lead you know, exotic vets in the country. He a lot of like the Instagram popular, you know, exotic vets, like there's this one chick that lives in Dallas who's awesome. I forget her name, but she's got a big following. Was an intern under him while she was getting her license. And on top of that, he also led research in the early 90s and 2000s with different viruses associated with snakes. So I hit him up, and he said, well, first things first is, are you sending any animals out? I said, yeah. He's like, all right. So I ended up doing a big test of 15 animals, of all the animals I was going to send out. Every single one of those tests came back negative for Nidovirus, and the tests were done by the vet in my garage, and we sent them out together. All of those came back negative, right? So I'm like, okay, whew, good. So now what I am doing now is, my quarantine procedures and like what I'm doing in my garage, like now every rack and every different cage stack has its own feeding, has its own cleaning supplies, has everything separated, right? Because it's going to take me a very long time to test all of my animals. One, cost, right? Two, I really prefer not to do the test myself. I want my vet to come and do the test. There's a specific way to do a Nidovirus test. There's, a part up in the whatever that you're supposed to swab. And he's the expert in that. So he's going to do that. Now,
and none of these animals were green trees. They are all retics that got tested, correct?
It was moving out one other green tree python. I tested it and it came back negative.
Okay.
Now, what I will say is, I need to, Dr. Koch, he was out of town, out of the country and everything. I need to have him come back over. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to test all of the chondros. Mm-hmm. Also, in addition to every snake that goes out, I'm testing for Nido. So right now I'm at 27 negative Nido tests, right? That's where I'm at. And so he's going to come over. We're going to do all the green tree pythons. I already have a plan with someone that if I do have chondros that test positive for Nido, I have someone that I know that has a Nido negative and a Nido positive section in their place that they keep their chondros, right? So all the Nido positive go into one room, all the Nido negative go into another room. Because the thing is that Nido, Nido dies off the eggs within 2 to 3 weeks. So if a Nido animal lays a clutch, the babies that hatch from that clutch will not have Nido unless you put them into the collection with the Nido positive animals, and it could possibly catch it.
I don't know a ton about Nido. I know it can lay dormant in animals. I know it can, be present in an animal and not present many problems. I know it can wipe out collections. There's a full range of what Nido can do. Do you know the biggest way it's transferred animal to animal?
Yeah. So like, it's got to be transmitted through, fluid, right? So it's got to be like saliva, blood, those type of things, right? So if you
like biting tongs and then using those tongs on another animal for feeding would probably be the number one.
Right. Or, let's say you end up having a shit luck and you don't know you have Nido in your collection, and then you end up getting mites.
Sure. And they've been sucking on the blood.
Yeah.
Sure.
Then that's another way. Right. But one thing that I will say about Nido is so Nido back in the day was scary, would wipe out collections because Nido I'll try to find the resources and the research that's been done on Nido, and include them in the link. I'll try to send them to you, Nathan, to include there. But
okay.
A research showed that 30% of snakes or of pythons specifically carry Nidovirus. That's a very, very large percent. And what's funny is that the people who headhunted me about this whole ordeal, have big collections. Yeah. And what's funny is one of the people who headhunted me keeps their animals in really shitty conditions. And I guarantee you, I mean, how many of you retic breeders breeders and retic buyers have ever had a Nido negative test sent to you with the purchase of an animal? It's not a thing in the retic world. No one does it. Nido is a virus that back in the day would wipe out collections because we had poor husbandry. And what happens with Nido is that it can lay dormant, and a snake can live a full, happy, healthy life, and it can lay dormant. But when you have shitty husbandry and it starts getting a respiratory infection, or it gets scale rot, or you're not keeping it healthy and it's stressed, then Nidovirus basically accelerates the death of the animal, right? So a lot of people think of Nidovirus and they get this panic and they get this fear and they're like, holy shit, like this is going to kill everything. And it's like, no, like as a matter of fact, if you have 100 snakes in your possession, research shows that potentially 30% of those are Nido positive, right? If you've never tested any of your animals. So yeah, I mean, so every snake that I'm sending out is going to be coming with a Nido, right? Like I'm sending out tests. If they come back negative, I can send the animal out. Yeah, it just, here's where I messed up, and I'm going to take full accountability for this. Is I could have been transparent right off the bat, right? And got ahead of the head hunting and people trying to take me down. Fun fact, all the people that made posts talking shit or commented talking shit are all Samson nut huggers that I took them down when Samson went down with the Slither files. So just throwing that out there. I'm going to save names for those that saw all of it. You know who I'm talking about.
I wouldn't say you took them down, but you definitely drew a connection point.
I put eyes on them, right? And they had to answer for their relationship with Samson.
Yeah, I think if Samson's still moving animals, it's a potential that at least one of those players could very well still be in connection.
Yeah, I don't have
that's just my personal opinion. I have nothing to base this off of.
I don't have a single doubt. So I want to take accountability, and this is something that I talked to the Patreon about and everything is because my Patreon, they were great. Like they were being just very blunt, direct, straight to the point. They were sharing their thoughts and everything of how I could have handled it. And yeah, there's a million and one ways that I could have handled it that could have been better. But I'm human, and I'm going to be honest. I wanted to test as many animals as possible before I went public with this because number one, the moment you mention Nidovirus, again, people panic for no reason, right? Like, don't get me wrong. Quarantining is important. Having, viruses in your collection is not ideal. And definitely not something that anyone wants. And so I was a little concerned. Like, if I just share this too soon without testing other animals to see if, like, okay, shit, do all of my snakes have Nido? Do none of them but that one? Like, what's the deal here? What snakes have Nido? I didn't want to share it until I had sufficient data and information. And then as I started doing more tests and things were testing negative, I kind of got complacent and was like, okay, like this is not. And what I mean by complacent is I no longer had this fear and this dread and this anxiety about having a Nido positive collection. I had at the time 22 plus tests that were negative. And so I just kind of, I let it go. But, it started with, the guy that bought the green tree python for me, the animal that I sold was a very notorious, beautiful animal. Right. And some people had heard that it tested positive for Nido, and that eventually spread to some of the Retic people. And I had people reach out to me about it. And but I kind of just like it wasn't really a thing until, the headhunting started, because people thought that I was trying to conceal, and that, I was being accused of sending out animals with Nido and sending out animals to people without testing them. And none of that is true. Everybody that I sent an animal out to since that positive test that came from outside of my collection, I've tested every animal.
No, and I think you're smart in when dealing with all the head hunting, which I don't think you necessarily had to do, but I understand the compulsion to do so.
I only made one comment.
Yeah, well, I mean, you might have made a couple. I can't remember. I definitely skimmed over everything, but I remember you posting a picture of one of your Nido negative tests that had dates, had animal IDs, had everything showing that this animal, after the fact, that you were sending out, tested negative for Nido, just showing that, like, this is something that you're not taking lightly. It's something you're taking seriously. And you're right. not once have I bought an animal and had any kind of test results of any nature come with it. Nor have I seen anyone else post an unboxing or anything else of that nature of, oh, I got this new animal, and also look at the verified bill of health that comes with it.
Right.
Like, of course, would that be great on every animal? And like in an ideal world, sure, but it takes an investment. I mean, most of us haven't had to deal with major health issues, and when something random like that pops up, of course it's in your best interest to start testing and making sure that like that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
So I commend you for like the steps that you did take after that.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to jump on it quickly. I would hope that most people that at least talk to me, right, know me well enough to know that like I am not going to send a sick animal out knowingly, right? I'm not going to do that. I'll happily refund you, but I'm not sending a sick animal out. So I started testing them all. I'm testing them now, and yeah, like I said, now every rack has its own feeding tongs, cleaning supplies. Like, Sean and James hate me. They don't hate me, but like the situation is what it is, but it takes a little bit longer to do things now.
A couple of years ago, even when I was in the room for a day and not James, just
Sean?
what? Huh? Sean. Yeah. When Sean was over, I saw you like instructing what hooks to use, what cleaning procedures to use after the hook. And that was just with the retics. That was like when you got your first chondro.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the day you brought your first chondro home.
Yeah. I will say this, you
had that procedure in place before those even came into the room. So I'm glad, I'm sure you're glad that you had those procedures in place just to start out with.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I would have been using the same feeding tongs and things for the chondros as I was the retics, it could be a very different story.
Sure.
Right. And that would have been a hit to the gut big time. Am I saying that every snake in my collection does not have Nido? No, because I haven't tested every animal. But what I will say is I am not going to send out an animal without a Nido test, and it'll be negative, right, in order for you to receive that animal. So, I mean, I just... unfortunately, again, I do have some regrets. And I mean, the head hunting thing was just from me being quiet about it. And, and at the end of the day, I looked at it both ways. Like I could say something and be proactive because I had a feeling that was going to happen. It was kind of just, I was waiting for the ball to drop and it finally did. And I think it also worked in my favor that the people who tried to do it were, they very, very well-known haters of myself. So I think they saw an opportunity and they wanted to jump on it.
No, and I think it's a little, I mean, you can't have expectations of people because they're going to let you down. But, you would hope in most situations that you could, if you have an issue with like that, like with an animal of any sort that like, the person deals with it with you and comes to a solution and, you guys can work through it together. But a lot of the times I've seen in this industry that people have an issue and want validation from other people or want opinions from other people. And all that does is, start to allow rumors to fly, start to allow just speculation to kind of boil up. And I don't think that's a healthy thing for anyone involved. And I think it just harbors more resentment more than anything else. So,
yeah. That's all that's going on in my neck of the woods.
That's a whole lot.
Yeah, it was not a fun 2 to 3 week period during the head hunting phase and as well as getting that my heart sank when this guy tested the chondro and it came back positive for Nido. Like my heart sank.
Sure.
It's not a good feeling. So, but yeah, working to make that right with that guy, and we are, yeah, like I said, we tightened up cleaning and feeding procedures over here more than it was already, and we're testing animals that are going out. So yeah, you will not get a negative, or you will not. You will get a negative Nido exam with all of your animals.
Yeah, you're doing everything that I think you can do.
And you know what? The next time that my vet comes over and he does like a group of animals, I'm going to actually record him doing it, record me putting it in the bag and in the box and sealing it, because I've heard people, some people are saying like, oh, he's probably just swabbing his mouth and sending the swab off. And
that's what I was going to say earlier, is like, I was joking. When this first was happening, I was talking with Lucas and I was joking around because of that. And I was like, of course he's not going to do that. Like, he's not going to, the vet especially isn't going to risk his reputation to swab Lucas's mouth and throw out a negative Nido test.
Yeah.
For
and they're under his account. He has an account with Ra. So,
and he probably wouldn't even do what I think would be funny, but would be to just like show him swabbing Lucas's mouth and being like, good to go.
Good to go. But yeah, man, you got anything else?
No, not right now. I'm hopeful that we can sit down, a little bit sooner than we release this episode and continue on with the book club. We have just a few chapters left. Starting to feel a little disconnected from the complete reticulated python, so we need to get to it sooner than later. We're in the chapter after morphs. I couldn't even tell you what that is.
Yeah, I'm gonna look right now. So we have, what is a dwarf or super dwarf retic?
Yep.
What is a pure locality retic? I think that we can knock those two out in one episode. Oh, easy. No, actually, we could probably do 12, 13, and 14 together. Or at least 12 and 13 together. But
12 and 13 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 14, I think I want to... just because of page 345, if you take a quick look, I think that deserves a bit of time to just sit down with.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. And then, I think even 14 and 15 we can do together. But anyways, yeah, we're going to jump back into our book club. We're going to finish this off. And, we'll start getting some guests back on again. And, we're going to shoot to try and do every other week. But again, we're just going to, we're rolling with it. So I appreciate you guys being patient, and, all of you that have reached out and been like, hey, love the podcast and hope you guys get back to recording some more. Like it's good to hear. And I appreciate everyone who's reached out to, kind of talk about their interest in the podcast. So
yeah, when we first started shifting up our recording schedule, we talked about it a little bit on the show. Like, we're not going anywhere. Pace is just changing. And I think finding a good, healthy balance is important in anything you do, especially when it takes time out of your day.
Right.
And we're recording this at we started at 10:30 Lucas's time.
So it's 11:35 over here.
It's 11:30, and he has a full work day tomorrow. I'm fortunate in the way that I'm not working tomorrow. I just have to get to the gym at some point in the morning. So Lucas, I just want to say thank you for waiting for me for an extra 30 minutes longer than usual. Appreciate it. It allowed me to go get a meeting in and, go be with community. So that was very appreciated. But yeah, we'll see you on the next one, hopefully a couple weeks from now.
Yep. See you, everyone.
Bye.